Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 185 of the Runnin the Paint podcast. I'm Miles here with Joey, Ben, and Nick. Guys, how are you doing today?
Feeling good, feeling great, ready to talk some basketball.
What's up, fellas? Yes, sir. Hey, how you doing, Ben? What's up, buddy?
Doing good, feeling good as always, and ready for a nice spring break. Big Kim coming up.
That's right. Ben and I are almost free for just a little bit before the final grind here at our respective colleges. But we got a lot of fun things to talk about with the NBA, as we always do here on the podcast. So make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe if you want some more NBA content as we continue to ramp up with a good 5.5 weeks left of the regular season, and then it's already playoff time. So we'll have all the coverage for you. But starting off with Pirtle here today, and we were debating what player to start off with. We found a brand new player that has recently entered the NBA. Shout out to number 47 on the Bulls. But we are going to go with a former Bull for our first player, Kevin Huerter, who finally was able to get some minutes today for the Pistons. All right, Eastern Conference guard that is it's going to be a small point guard that is a young guy. So already knocks down a few players. What do we guys think about this? Not a Central Division player.
The Nets drafted 18 guys who fit this description. So
yeah,
I thought Nolan Traore, however you want to say his name. I'm not even sure, but he might be. I know he's a taller guard. He's not Yegor Demon, who's I think like this height, 6'6" or so as a point guard, but I think he's an oversized guard, so he might not fit.
Could try
Anybody
Brooklyn
else?
Net. Maybe if it's the wrong Brooklyn Net, well, we could find out it's still a net.
I do agree with Nick though. They do have some point guards that are a little on the taller side though, like even like Yegor Yeoman and Nolan Traore and all that.
Yeah, that's true.
The first player I thought of was like a Tyler Kolek on the Knicks.
Okay.
He's
Or
not-
Jonas?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jonas too. What do we think? Who do we want to try out?
I'm cool with Kolek.
All right, let's try out Tyler Kolek and see if we can
Be a
maybe even
great
just
Kolek
narrow
we
down
got.
the division. Oh, we got it!
Yeah.
Dang it.
That is a good way to start off. Tyler Kolek in
Oh, there.
2. That's pretty good. Let's get into the news around the association. First up, we talked about a little bit in the last episode with the Boston Celtics potentially getting their superstar forward Jason Tatum back for the first time this season. Bill Simmons hinted that it could be Friday, and Shams then reports here today on Thursday as we're recording that he is expected to play here tonight against the Dallas Mavericks for his season debut after missing the last 10 months with the Achilles injury suffered in the playoffs. Already back here at the beginning of March. Nick, this is huge news for the Eastern Conference, for the entire NBA, and really for the Boston Celtics in general.
I mean, yeah, it really shakes up the league as a whole. Both conferences are going to be put on notice when he comes back because it's a top contending team getting a All-NBA talent back, getting their best player back, getting an Olympic gold medal winner and like top 5 MVP candidate type player back. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be a big impact for not only the Eastern Conference, but like I said, the NBA as a whole, because Boston's playing really well, and they've done it before. 2 years ago, won the NBA Finals, and or maybe 3 years ago. By now, I'm getting old, so it's kind of hard to remember these things.
Those two.
Yeah, 2.
But yeah, it's a huge addition for obviously Boston, and I think like like you said, it shakes up the Eastern Conference picture because up until this point, it's been sort of Cavs, Knicks, and everybody else on the outside. But now, I mean, this pretty much puts Boston right in that conversation too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is just an incredible story, Joey, for Jason Tatum. I mean, this is one of the quicker recoveries that we've seen for an Achilles injury. I mean, it's one of the most unique kind of recoveries that we've ever seen. The fact that the Celtics have still been this good, a top seed in the East without their star player, and, a ton of credit to all those surrounding guys, but now they get to add their best player back to this team.
Yeah, it's just impressive. It's so impressive that he's doing this. Like I can't even put into words how crazy that is. Like the closest I've done is I tore my ACL and came back, but again, that was 10 to 12 months of recovery time. I'm not a I'm not a professional athlete, so I get it, but it's just absolutely incredible, like what he is doing and able to come back. And yeah, their team is still really good without him, and you're adding him. I don't see how, at least in my opinion, I think the Celtics are a top contender right now. And he still has.
Ben, what?
I know he still has a whole month to get ready for the playoffs too.
Yeah, so that's really going to be one of the big things to watch over the rest of the season here, Ben, is how do the Celtics sort of reintegrate Jason Tatum back into the lineup here when they've already developed a rhythm with this specific team. I mean, this is a pretty different roster compared to obviously the last time he was there. It is a worse roster because of, the different players they had to deal with, all the money moves they made over the summer, but still a really talented team, but a lot of younger role players that are asked to play bigger minutes.
Yeah, and Jason Tatum still has good chemistry with the top guys that are still there, Jaylen Brown and Derek White and Drew Bazula's there once again as the coach who won a championship with. I think won't be too hard for them to figure this out, and it's awesome that he's able to come back now. Like that's like great timing because a month's a nice amount of time, to get his feet wet back into things again and get ready for the playoffs. To where once he loosens up and just get better and more into form from playing a bit here, the regular season coming back on the minutes restriction, I would be guessing that could help him really be ramped up and ready to be full go come playoff time. It's going to matter the most. And yeah, I think the Celtics will be one of those top contenders in the East for potentially winning it along with the Knicks and the Cavs come the playoff time.
Yeah, and obviously we'll talk about the Detroit Pistons as well as a little bit later. They've been the top seed in the East all season. I think they should, even though they've struggled the last week, which we'll get into later, they've deserved to still be at least talked about in that conversation. But Nick, do you think that a month is enough time for Jason Tatum to be reintegrated back into this lineup? Because although he has recovered quickly, it is an Achilles injury, and coming back in the middle of a season when everyone else is already in rhythm could, it's again, it's a unique situation.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I would go back to a point that you made in the last podcast, which is that Jaylen Brown has been the engine and the facilitator and the scorer for this offense. And they've been playing a different style where they're slowing they play the slowest pace in the league, and they uh, get their half court set. They get the look that they want. So reintegrating Tatum into that after it's had success is a question as to whether or not like it's gonna go smooth, or if he's gonna be looking to like force, or if like the timing is gonna be right with all the guys that he's been playing with forever, with Pritchard, with White, with Jaylen Brown, and then you have to incorporate the new guys into that too. So there's definitely some question marks and some uncertainties, but like Joey, you were saying last episode, like if anybody can come in and play with a new group of guys, it's somebody like Tatum. Um, like we saw James Harden do it this year already, come in and make an immediate impact on a brand new team. I would say that Tatum should approach it sort of similarly, where like let them do what they do, because James Harden likewise came into like the best offense last year, and he's like, all right, well, let me just pick my spots, get everybody involved, not look to force. And I think that's what he's been doing for the Cavs, shooting a high percentage, got a lot of highs, got a lot of assists, and I think that's what Jason Tatum should look to do too, is like sort of let things come to him in this early part of the offense, or in the early part of his comeback, and then like by the end of March here, beginning of April, like start to put your foot on the gas and look to take over more, so that you can actually be the guy that you're supposed to be in the playoffs for this team.
Yeah, I guess the thing I'm just concerned with I guess even that comparison is James Harden is at this point a playmaker first at this point of his career. Tatum, I mean, he's it's gonna be kind of a mental thing coming back with this because they've been playing so well. He is a scorer first. I mean, we've seen different times during their championship run how, he can, make an impact when his shots aren't falling. But this is a less talented team that he's coming back to, and I think he may know that in his head. Like he does, there is no Drew Holiday, there is no Porzingis, there is no Al Horford on this team. So I'm just curious with like if shots aren't going, if he is going to press, if he's going to have trouble taking care of the basketball, how is he going to play defensively coming off this injury? Like I feel like it's a very different thing, and it is very new just because he's just again he's a player that is used to being the number one scoring option for his team and the guy that is on the scouting reports for opposing teams. So I wonder how that's going to be mentally for him. And again, Joe, I mean, a month is, a pretty quick time here for him to get back set up before you have to transition to playing playoff basketball, which is, almost an entirely different sport.
Yeah, but come on, it's Jason Tatum. He's been here, done this before. Like, I know he hasn't been there, done this before, but like, he's been in the playoffs almost every year of his career. He's won a championship. If anyone knows how to get ready for playoff basketball, it's gonna be him. I think a month is plenty of time for him to, because like what Nick said, I think he's gonna come in with the mentality of let these guys do them. I'm gonna try to get my rhythm back and see how I can reintegrate myself with how you guys are doing. But I need to see you guys still doing you and still like doing what got us there. So, but I think Tatum is certainly that player because even when they won the championship and all that stuff, Jaylen Brown got the awards. Like he is okay taking like a step back and doing what the team needs to win and to get himself right. I think if there's anybody I trust, it's gonna be Jason Tatum with coming back from this and having enough time and getting right.
Interesting. Ben, what do you think?
I tend to agree with Joey. I think like Tatum could get it figured out in the month. He feels the playoffs good. He's won the championship before, So yeah, it's a bit of a different team he's coming back to with the Celtics, but some of the key guys are still there, like I said. I believe they'll become a tough team. Get even better still with him once he's even more back in the form.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see here. Again, it's just something that we haven't really seen before. A star player coming back to a team that is trying to contend and compete for a championship right now. So I'm excited to see how he looks. It's obviously great for the game that he is coming back to the lineup. I I'm just a little skeptical if they can put it together in a month with him coming back because I mean again it is a different team that he's coming back to even though there are some similar players but younger guys that need different roles he's gonna want to come back and show that he is playing well after the injury. So we'll see. They got some big games coming up too, which is going to be a lot of fun as well. It's not like they've already had all of their toughest games already played. One of those games is coming up on Sunday in Cleveland against the Cavaliers at 1 o'clock on ABC. Then right after that, then they have two road games against the Spurs and the Thunder. They have another game where they play the Thunder, and they also play at New York later in the season. So they will have a chance to play, their easier load of teams where they can integrate him back into the lineup and try out some different things. But they will still have their test to see, how will they play with everyone back against those higher contending teams.
Yeah, I said a couple episodes ago about something about the Nuggets, which is like um, coming into the year they had high expectations because it was the best supporting cast that Jokic has had. But like a lot of things have to go right for you to win a championship or win multiple rounds or compete at that level. And like with Jokic's wrist injury and all the injuries that they've had, like they've just caught a couple bad breaks, and so I could see it getting in a month and like, oh well, the Denver Nuggets like they had a really rough year and they're not going to have it happen this year. Um, Whereas like the Celtics were on the opposite end of that spectrum coming into the year where they had no expectations, and now they're kind of in the same spot that Denver is in, where it's like in a month it could be like, well, the Celtics had everything go wrong. They just got Tatum back with a month. It's not going to go out for them this year. They just had too many things go wrong. But at the same time, both of those teams could also a month from now be like, well, Denver was in such a bad spot, but they got it all together, and now they look really good. And at the same time, Tatum could develop enough in a month where it's like the Celtics look good enough to be that team.
Yeah, 100% could definitely be the case. It's just going to be important for these teams to be playing, trending towards playing their best basketball by the time the season comes to an end. And I'm just curious to see if they'll be able to get to that level with Tatum still coming back in a month from this major injury when everyone else has a rhythm. But it should be a lot of fun to see how it works again. They play tonight against Dallas. That's the game that it's expected to be his return. And Cooper Flag just came back for Dallas last night and had a big game against the Magic in a crazy game where they fell in the final seconds. But we'll get to see a couple Dukies, go at it here. And Tatum's debut of the season potentially, so that game should be a lot of fun. But right after that, again, they play the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have been off for a little bit after getting a big victory against the East leading Detroit Pistons on Tuesday, winning 113-109. This came a few days after they fell to the Pistons on the road in overtime, where the Cavs were missing a bunch of players. This game, the Pistons had everyone healthy. Isaiah Stewart was back. Cavs still had Donovan Mitchell out. Dean Wade was out for this game as well. And I mean, they played pretty well and took care of business. Ben, we'll start with you. What were some of your biggest takeaways from the Cavs evening up the season series against the Pistons?
Well, the Cavs, after making these trades, seemed like they just looked better against the Pistons. I was at the game, before the trade deadline where the Cavs are playing the Pistons at home. It just looked worse than what I'm seeing now. With what you want to see, improvement later on in the year. And I thought the Cavs were terrific on the defensive end. The Pistons, struggled to find open shots, weren't sure to get too good free, caused there by some good Cavs defense. I was pleased with the way and impressed with how Jalen Tyson stepped up in that starting lineup. He was fantastic. He had like around 24 points, something like that, with scoring and playing well on defense too. And Keon Ellis, Dennis Schroeder were providing great energy once again. Ellis was great defense, forcing turnovers, getting steals, and Allen played. He got hurt later on in the game, unfortunately. But I was actually happy with the way Thomas Bryant stepped up off the bench in that game. I really liked the energy he was providing in that game. And I thought made some nice plays down low to step up for the kids. So it was a good sign to see that from another big in our team. And not the best game from Harden in this one, but it was all right. I mean, the kids just did well as a team, and it was about the team, and Harden still did okay. It's a good assist and stuff, and a few nice baskets, and wow, I was happy. Overall, great team win. Good to beat another contending team in the East. That's for sure, especially without Donovan Mitchell not being back still.
Yeah, I think the key to the thing in this one was obviously it was a great team win for the Cavs, but defensively holding Cade Cunningham to 10 points on 4 for 16 shooting. And I don't believe he made a field goal after like the 9-minute mark of the second quarter. So he made he was making plays for his teammates. He had 14 assists, did have 5 turnovers. But overall, I mean, Joey, the Cavs did about as well as you can do against a guy of Cade Cunningham's caliber.
Yeah, I was very impressed with the Cavs' overall effort, honestly. Like, even without Donovan Mitchell, I had a pretty good feeling. Because, especially after the game before, where we went to overtime and we didn't have either Harden or Mitchell. Just having Harden, even though he didn't have his most efficient game, he was getting everybody else involved. He was doing well. Tyson shot great. Mobley played a lot better. I liked what you said, Ben. Keon Ellis and Thomas Bryant provided huge sparks off the bench. I thought it was fantastic. And yeah, the defensive effort on Cade was absolutely crucial because I know his numbers. We were watching the end of the Spurs game in the pre-pod lobby before we started, and even though he had a better game, still not efficient at all. Like this is not a good run of games for Cade Cunningham. Like
Yeah, and we can get into this as well with the Pistons then going on to play the Spurs. That score is not correct. They didn't get blown out that badly.
no,
They lost 121 to 106 in the game today, and it was a game where the Spurs played really well. I mean, defensively, again, you see Cade Cunningham went 10 for 26 from the field. Bit of a weird one for the Pistons where Asar Thompson gets injured early in the game. Jalen Duren's playing in foul trouble. And then De'Aaron Fox, and Victor Wembanyama go crazy, go gangbusters mode, combined for 67 points in this game.
Yeah, that's a that's a great duo for sure. Fox and Wemby. As far as the Pistons go, I mean, the scouting report's kind of out on them. Like, if you are able to throw different looks at Cade and limit his production, you live with the shooting and then the scoring of the other guys. Um, and that's what the Cavs were able to do, and that's what the Spurs were able to do in these last two games. Like, the Cavs traded for those guys, and now they have the personnel to like really throw different looks at a dynamic guard like that. You're Keelan Ellis able to like get in there and make stuff happen. And um, who else did they trade for from the Kings? I'm blanking.
Schroeder.
Yeah, those two guys are great point of attack guards. And Schroeder had a good game in this one, 15, 5 assists, knocked down 2 out of 3 threes. But the Spurs are similar in personnel. Like, you have Fox, who's not the best defensive guard, but Steph Castle is like the best defensive guard. And then you got longer wings like Vassell and Champagny, who like that's gonna mess up Cade's rhythm and stuff. So yeah, the scouting report I would say is out on the Pistons, and the Cavs and the Spurs both have the personnel to match up with Cade. And then honestly, like as far as the Spurs go, they got Wemby and the Cavs bigs in this last game before Allen got hurt and Mobley. Like they did a good enough job with. We usually do a good enough job with Durant on the boards, and then Wemby's obviously a good matchup against anybody. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but overall here, Ben, I mean, this is again another battle between the two teams that you were high on going into the season that have exceeded really all of our expectations, being two of the top teams in the NBA here. Of course, still, maybe some skepticism across the league whether or not they can really make a push for a championship run or a finals appearance this season. But Ben, what are your thoughts on the Pistons after this stretch here where we knew that they had this, 6-game stretch here where they got to play against a lot of the contending teams in the league. They played the Cavs twice, the Spurs twice. They played the Thunder, who were injured, and they played the Magic. Overall, they go 3-3, and their win against the Thunder, although the Pistons were able to win the game, the Thunder had all their guys injured, and it was only an 8-point game. And the Cavs had all their guys out, and it took overtime. So, what are your thoughts really after the last couple of weeks with the Pistons?
Yeah, the Pistons had some struggles that they have to figure it out, even though they're still a pretty good basketball team. I noticed the 3-point shooting. I've mentioned that before here on this podcast with them, but it concerns me now. They've just struggled with that recently in games. Some games recently, like even though they won against the Magic, I saw that was a low percentage for free against the Cavs, and they weren't able to make a whole lot of frees in their last few matches with them. It's like they don't have much shooters really to help really generate more offense, and it was just seems like they have a bit less of that than even last year. That concerns me come the playoff there, and just Keith's a pretty good player, but it would help if there's just, more shot creation help there for him now. They wanted to be even better. And defense, they're still a good defensive team. They still play tough. I mean, I'm not really as concerned there with them, but yeah, I guess the stretch could be a wake up call for them. We'll have to see how they can respond going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Or Nick, go ahead.
Oh, I would say that they're just not good enough. In terms of like their identity, I think like at the beginning of the season, their hard nosed defensive effort, led by JB and Cade, was able to like get them to the 1 seed all year, and that was like enough to propel them to the position that they're in now. But when you really take a look at it, if they don't have Cade going, obviously like that's their number one problem is the personnel problems that I talked about. If they have a difficult matchup for him to get it going, and then I mean, the roster you have guys like Kevin Herter, Duncan Robinson, Tobias Harris. Like those guys aren't guarding anybody. Like they have a good hard nosed defensive team, but like in
I
terms
will
of
say, Kate. I think Cade Cunningham should be taken off that list. I think he's been a great defensive player. He's a great shot
I
blocker
said
for a point guard.
Tobias, Duncan, and Kevin Herter.
Oh, I thought you said Cade. I thought I heard Cade in there.
No,
Oh, that's on me. Sorry. I want to give Cade his love on defense.
Um, like in terms of their identity being a defensive hard nosed team and then a great offense that's led by Cade, like it's just not good enough.
Yeah, probably would agree. I mean, I know at the trade deadline they made the trade to get Kevin Herter, who has been in and out of the rotation, really hasn't, gotten much of a rhythm there. And honestly, with that happening, and him not really playing that much, it's kind of making me wonder if the Pistons front office is kind of viewing this season as like maybe a similar mindset as what the Rockets viewed last year as. Like, all right, we're having a great year. We're having a very solid defensive year. And Detroit, obviously, number one seed in the East. But we want to see what this team needs in the playoffs to, move on and take the next step. I feel like that could be the mindset. But at the same time, I think we kind of saw last year that, the 3-point shooting that the guys they had like Beasley and Hardaway were so pivotal, and only getting, Duncan Robinson, this season, and Jaden Ivey not working out as that second option as a scorer. It is kind of it's weird because I feel like the Pistons, they've been great all regular season long, but I feel like their roster last year made way more sense for the playoffs than this team.
it for sure did. Losing Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway have been absolutely crucial for them. Duncan Robinson's not bad, but like Beasley was fantastic for them. And look at what Tim Hardaway's doing now, too. Like he's been crucial for the Nuggets, right? He's back there, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm with you. I think the front office is looking at it like, hey, this is great, and we're going to take all the momentum, but like we know this isn't a finished product in a championship team yet, but we're going to ride this momentum and see what we got. But hopefully, those problems that everybody is seeing, that they need more shooting and another scorer, hopefully they'll see that in the playoffs and they'll get them some help in the offseason.
Or yeah, and we'll see. Obviously, still a little while to go here. I mean, who knows? Maybe they can go on a hot run shooting from three, and they are able to go on a run. But obviously, the last few weeks with them losing to some superior, teams on paper, it obviously, brings up, these sort of discussions. So we'll see what happens with the Pistons over the rest of the season here. But big game that we had earlier the week on Wednesday was Oklahoma City versus the New York Knicks, the Thunder, with their lone visit of the regular season to Madison Square Garden. And we ended up getting a fun game, defensive-minded battle. The Thunder held on to win 103-100. They were able to get a big first quarter from Chet Holmgren offensively. My goodness, he went crazy. And Shea had some big plays down the stretch, and they were able to hold off a New York Knicks comeback as they tried to make a run later down the stretch. Nick, what were some of your biggest takeaways from this game?
Well, what Joey said on the last episode came to mind, which is that one of the biggest X factors for New York is Mikal Bridges and his scoring output. And in this one, he was 6 for 17 and 1 for 5 from behind the arc, only had 15 points. So when you lose a one possession ball game, those things are really glaring. Um, yeah. Other than Mikal Bridges, like I didn't get to watch this game, so I don't have a ton of insight in terms of how the flow of the game went. But I would probably say that Karl Anthony Towns needed to do better too. If you only have 100 points for like one of the top offenses in the league, that's it's not ideal. It's not your identity. You're not imposing your identity on the other team that's coming into your home arena.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it was just a good defensive performance by OKC. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns, it's another game where he doesn't really put up a whole lot of shots. I mean, that's becoming a bit of a regular occurrence now over these, last few weeks against good teams. I mean, and again, these are efficient games, but he's just not putting up a whole lot of shots. Like this game against the Thunder, he goes 7 for 8 from the field. He has 17 and 17, 9 offensive rebounds, but he's only taking 8 shots against the Spurs on Sunday. Although they won by a lot, he only takes 9 shots. That Cavs game where they lost, he took 5 shots. Like, these are, this is an all-star big man who at this point of his career should not be averaging his career low in field goal attempts per game, but that is what we're at right now.
For sure. That was my whole point last episode was like the way that the Knicks have been playing in these last couple games versus the Spurs, versus the Cavs, versus I think Boston they lost to last week too. Maybe not, but either way, like it reminded me of the Pistons and not having a second punch after Cade, and like that second punch, my point was should be Cat, but if he's not taking more than 8, 9, 10 shots a game, that isn't necessarily lining up, putting him in the best position to help you succeed.
Did any of you, Nick said he didn't watch the game, but Miles, Ben, did you see the technical or the ejection, I think it was, that for Mike Brown?
I don't think he got. I don't think he got thrown out. It was the play. Well, what are you talking about? The play
I don't
where
think he got thrown out. I think it was just a tech, but
was it the play where Shea had 2 fouls? He like pushed off, should have got called for his third, and then Mike Brown was just complaining.
Yeah, Shea literally stopped and like pushed the dude, and he completely fell over and then hit the shot, and Mike Brown went absolutely livid.
Yeah, I think I remember that now. Yeah.
Well worth the tech, in my opinion. I'm kind of tired of seeing all these referee calls going OKC's way, to be honest. There's a lot of announcers were saying and going in on it.
Yeah, which I think is just something that comes with the territory of being the champions, honestly. Like, I think that just is, I mean, I think that this is a reoccurring thing with all the champions. And when you are SGA, like, you're going to get the benefit of the doubt on some of those calls. But, I mean, the officials, you do need to make the right calls on those. And that could have been a huge play.
Like, even the obvious ones, they're just going OKC's way. It's just like, you got to at least make it lesser known that you're just favoring them or that you're going to give them the benefit of the doubt more often than not.
Yeah, for sure. On the Knicks side, the Thunder did a great job defending Jalen Brunson. So Brunson, kind of similar to Cade in the Cavs game on Tuesday, didn't really shoot the ball well, but got his teammates involved a lot. Brunson had 16 points, 15 assists, but was 5 for 18 from the field. You mentioned Nick Bridges with 6 for 17. OG Anunoby shot the same percentage. Josh Hart 4 for 11. Landry Shamet was huge as they were trying to come back, but they were missing Mitchell Robinson in this game. He missed the game due to injury, so they didn't have that backup center play that they would normally have, in that sort of matchup. Again, did a great job on the boards, but just didn't get a whole lot of field goal attempts up. He fouled out in this game. But just a big win for the Thunder. I mean, Chet Holmgren, with one of his best games of his career, Ben, getting shots from all over the court, 6 threes, 28 points. I mean, he was awesome in this one.
Yeah. And the first half, he was on fire, and I couldn't believe how many 3-point shots he was able to knock in, but great for him. And the Thunder did a great job on Brunson, just playing tight on him and getting steals. Like Caruso got a couple of steals, Case of Wallace, 4 steals. That was impressive by him. And Lee Dort stepped up. Like he stepped up offensively too. Had 16 points there at that end, which is a good boost for them as well. And the second hit, the Knicks did look better. Like they had a chance there to win. Like they came back, made some great runs. They fought hard, and towards the end, like they had this couple of 3-point shots, which were some good looks. They somehow got it all those to fall in. They had the medal. I was thinking maybe they could knock one of those in and send it to overtime. Maybe the result could have been different. They could have won. That was a tough break there for New York. But credit OKC, they were great throughout the game on defense, and somehow they got it done. Did enough towards the end.
Yeah, Ben, you mentioned those two looks that they got. I mean, it was Brunson in the corner that was a little contested, but it came off I guess, the front of the rim almost perfectly to where OG kind of caught it in stride. It was kind of like a fadeaway look at the top of the key, and he just came up short. I thought that was going to go down. We were going to go to overtime, but the Thunder able
Yeah.
to pull out the victory. OKC will have a chance to go for their 50th win of the season already, coming up on Saturday when they play Golden State, who had a big win in Houston earlier. But just another strong victory on the road by OKC. They've now won 4 in a row, 7 of their last 8 games, even with all the guys injured, and starting to get healthier. Of course, J-Dub is still out with the hamstring injury. It keeps being, in and out of the lineup here. I think maybe that's something we'll talk about later on in the season, if they can still, perform this well in the playoffs. If J-Dub is out, can they win a championship if he is still, injured? But overall, it's a big time for the Thunder to pick up these wins in the regular season, with San Antonio being so hot, being right behind them in the West standings for the top seed.
It's going to be a fun finish.
Yeah, it's getting down to the nitty gritty. That is for sure. Spurs are hot.
Yes, it is. Yeah, yes, they are. Let's see where they are. I'll see where they're at right now after the games. So it's a 3-game lead now after the games tonight. The Spurs lost a little bit of ground with the loss to the Knicks on Sunday, but still will be a close finish. It gives the Thunder some incentive to keep on pushing through for the rest of the season. But one of the crazier results that we've had all season long has been the recent play of the Charlotte Hornets over the last month and a half, and they did it again on Wednesday with an impressive 29-point beatdown of the Celtics in Boston to move a game above 500 after they started off pretty slow here. The Hornets have made some history with the game on Wednesday. There were some crazy stats that I saw. It was their 6th straight victory by 15 or more points, which is the first time since, I think, the Kevin Durant Warriors where something like that happened. And their win against the Celtics means that they defeated the previous 3 NBA champions by 20 points at some point in the season by defeating the Thunder, the Celtics, and the Nuggets, which is the first time since the 50s where a team did that. So this is a historic run here by the Hornets.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. Like, good for the Hornets. Yeah, this is awesome. Like, I was like, man, before past season, like the Hornets had some talent, they can't stay healthy, but like, wow, they're really putting it together when they're staying healthy and they're looking great. They're a fun team to watch, and I think the Hornets could possibly even make some noise in the postseason. They're playing that good. I mean, I don't think like conference finals if I'm predicting, but they could be sneaky in the first round, give like their first round opponent a tough time still. Like they're playing that well. Like they got good shooting, they can pass it well, and they young guys are figuring things out better with playing good defense and playing with better toughness. Like the Hornets, I'm proud of them. This is a lot of fun, and Hornets fans deserve a good, fun team that has a bright future. Finally,
I was I saw both of those updates today. The three NBA champions by 20 more points and 15 points or more in 6 straight games. I'm like, wow, they're literally just inventing stats to come up with to tell you how good the Hornets are playing right now. But no, those are obviously two very telling statistics. And
That's impressive when you think about it.
yeah, if I was one of those top 4 seeds in the East, Detroit, Cleveland, New York, or Boston, like I think Charlotte would be on the list of teams I would not want to play in the first round, like ahead of Orlando, ahead of Atlanta, ahead of Miami, because they got a dangerous squad. I mean, Brandon Miller, LaMelo, and Khan are all legit like big time scoring threats who all like have a pretty high IQ when it comes to like passing and playing defense and being in the right spot sort of thing. So yeah, I'm happy for the Hornets too, Ben. This has been building for a couple of years. Like I think I've been the highest on the Hornets in our preseason pod the last 2 or 3 years, and I've been waiting for them to show up how they have this year. So I'm glad that they finally have, and I would love to see them take a first round matchup to 7 games, or even make it their way to into the second round. It would be a lot of fun to see.
It certainly has impressed. I certainly was not a believer that this Charlotte Hornets team, with just about a month left in the season, are 2.5 games out of an actual playoff spot, like a bona fide playoff spot, a 6 seed. Like I was not a believer, but they have completely turned it around. Khan has been fantastic. Honestly, everybody's been playing just fantastic. The whole team, like they've just been clicking.
Well, yeah, and their shooting has been unbelievable over these games. Like I'm looking, they're 16-3 in their last 19 games. But if you want to go their last 15 games, they're shooting 40% from three, number one in the league, taking 46 a game, which is by far, one of the top in the league. It's ridiculous. Like that is ridiculous. That is absolutely unheard of. Everyone is on fire right now. Con Knippel's the big name, obviously, when it comes to the 3-point line. But I mean, all the guys like Brandon Miller will take a lot of threes, and he's making them, at a pretty decent clip. LaMelo, the same thing. Bridges is good. They got the Kobe White addition, who is, getting himself back into the lineup. And, their role players, are solid as well. I mean, they're just a very young team. They've got no one that is over the age of 27 that is in their rotation. So this is a young team that is just playing really well right now. We'll see if they can keep it up. That would be crazy if they were able to actually clinch a for real top 6 playoff spot and go on a run. I know, yeah, Nick, last year we were saying heading into that season where, man, this Hornets team could be the Pacers from the previous year, where they go on a surprise run. They go to the NBA Cup or whatever, win that championship or something, go to the championship game, and then go on a run later on through the season. I mean, we'll see what happens the rest of the way. I mean, they're certainly playing like one of the hottest teams in the league over the last couple of weeks here. And it really is fun because this is a Hornets team that has, really not been a factor for a long time. I mean, they haven't made the playoffs in 10 years, which I want to say is the current longest drought in the league since the Sacramento Kings ended theirs and are now starting another drought right now.
We can leave the Kings out of here. Relax there. They are not a part of this video at all.
Fair enough, but shout out to the Charlotte Hornets. Do you guys? How far do you guys think this team could realistically go this year?
With how hot they are, I'm with Nick. Like, they really can be a dark horse team, and if you're hot at the right time, who knows what could happen? We saw with the Pacers last year. Like, who actually knows? But I would predict them, if anything, a dark horse to possibly make it to round 2 and give a good series to go into the next round.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you right there. Because at the end of the day, when we get to playoff basketball and the experience compared to all those other teams, I mean, you give the edge to some other teams, but I mean, definitely to give a bit of a fight. I mean, I would definitely think they could give a fight in a play-in matchup or a first round matchup.
Mhm.
But
I
either
agree.
way, just a lot of fun that Buzz City is back, and we're actually talking about the Hornets for being a relevant NBA team, which is it's been a long time since we could really say that.
Yeah, they should have had an all-star this year.
No,
Eric Collins calling playoff basketball. That's going to be incredible.
Oh yeah.
yes it will. Yes, it will. Shout out to Norman Powell, by the way, in the Miami Heat, who are still above the Charlotte Hornets in the standings. But now, yeah, those are some of the best results from the last few days here. Let's quickly look at the big upcoming games coming up this weekend. Here, as we always do, is there are big matchups every week. We already previewed it. We mentioned it that Boston is visiting Cleveland Sunday at 1 o'clock. The Cavs in this bit of a weird stretch where they're not going to have played since the Tuesday game against Detroit. Meanwhile, Boston will have played on Friday against the Dallas Mavericks, which could be Jason Tatum's return. This could really be Jason Tatum's first game back against a legit playoff team here. So, what are you guys looking for in this game as we get to see these two teams for the first time in their current form? I guess you could say. Ben, let's start with you.
Yeah, I'll be looking to see how the Cavs just match up with Boston. Like, if Tatum's back there for that, which I guess he will be, I think he'll play, but like, I don't know, minutes restriction still for cautionary reasons. But I think I'll be looking out for, it won't be easy for Tatum trying to adjust, against the Cavs because I know the Cavs, they're gonna want to get up tight, try to force steals, turnovers like they've been recently with Keon Ellis and Tyson. That could all come as a surprise to Jason Tatum and the Celtics, and I'll be looking out to see how well the Cavs do with just slowing down Brown and Tatum, and hopefully Donovan Mitchell's back for the Cavs. Uh, of course, a huge help for the Cavs. We can get our superstar, our best player, back in a big primetime game, but should be an interesting matchup, and I can't wait for it for just this game for the Cavs. It's a big test for both teams and potentially a playoff matchup preview.
Yeah, for sure. Nick, what about you?
Yeah, I would agree with Ben. I definitely think this could be an Eastern Conference Finals preview. Two of the top teams in the East. I would say I'm going to be watching for Cleveland X Factor, the Celtics slammer Dean Wade, because I think the last time these two teams played a primetime game in Cleveland, Dean Wade went ballistic. Uh, Brought them back from down 23 in the fourth. And
That was 2 years ago to the day of recording
it's
this.
2 years ago
actually.
already.
Yeah, to the day actually as we're recording this.
Wow.
Yeah, shout out Dean Wade for that awesome memory. We'll see if he can make that impact again this weekend. But no, honestly, the thing I'm gonna be watching for is the thing that we already talked about with the Celtics, like reintegrating Tatum, seeing how the second game, if he plays on Friday, like that'll be a lot of nerves. It'll be a lot of just first game jitters back from that long time away. So this 1 o'clock, like not prime time, but Sunday afternoon, ABC game in Cleveland, like be a lot of eyeballs again once again. So should be a little bit calmer being in your second game, and I'll be watching to see how they get him going in this one too, and if the Cavs have an answer for that.
Yep, I agree. I'm gonna be really looking forward to like what Ben said, the matchups. Who's gonna take advantage of it? Because our weakness is the wings, and they have two of the best wings in the league. and Brown and Tatum, and obviously Tatum coming back, so it's going to be weird in how it's going to handle. But their weakness is also their guards, and with how our guards are playing, if Donovan and Harden are healthy, and with Keon and Schroeder, if we take advantage of that, like who's going to take advantage of the other team's weakness first, and who does it better, and who can? I think it's going to be a fantastic game.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see the Cavs play the Celtics with this new look roster because these teams have been going at it, whether it's regular season or playoffs, over the last several years with this, in the Donovan Mitchell era for the Cavs, and it's kind of been the same thing over and over with Garland kind of struggling in those matchups because they would have Drew Holiday or Derek White in the backcourt. Obviously, Drew Holiday not there anymore, and Donovan Mitchell just having some of his best games against Boston. Like he really plays well against that Celtics team. But like you said, the weaknesses for the Cavs in the years past has been the lack of wing play. Well, they've gotten some pesky wing play and perimeter defenders on their side now. So how is it going to fare with those wing players guarding Jason Tatum? And how is James Harden going to play against this Boston team? I'm curious to see what the difference will be between him and Darius Garland in that particular matchup, because we know Garland, great player, glad he's playing for the Clippers after the injury, but it's obviously we've seen so far it's been an upgrade with Harden being the facilitator. How is that going to look against a Boston Celtics team, which is a clear rivalry, in the Eastern Conference? It's been that way between the Cavs and Celtics for a very long time.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Boston, so it does kind of pain me to see that Tatum is coming back and they're really, really good again.
It's exciting, though, the potential of all these different rivalries we could get in the Eastern Conference once we get into the second round. Hopefully, if these top four teams can all make it, that should be a cinematic second round in the Eastern Conference, just like it could be for the Western Conference. Again, Cavs, Celtics in Cleveland Sunday, 1 o'clock on ABC. This game, it's also important for the Cavs as well, depending on where they want to finish in the seeding, because I know that's been a conversation as of late. Of course, they have a pretty easy schedule after these next couple of games. I believe once they play Boston and then Philadelphia on Monday, which, Joey, you and I go into that game, excited for that one. But after that, the only top 6 team in either conference that the Cavs play the rest of the season is the Lakers once. Everyone else is a play-in or worse team. So if the Cavs want to try to get, the 2 seed or, what have you, then they could, try and do that. Or if they want to maybe have a situation where they're still the 4th seed and then they play against a Pistons team that they feel pretty good about in round 2, they can do that. I know that's been a discussion. I know we're probably all the, thought that you shouldn't mess around with seeding, in that situation. But the Cavs will be in the position where they could potentially get to pick who they want to play, in the playoffs. So,
well, didn't they do that with Orlando and then get taken to 7 games?
Yeah, I think this team, it's clearly, though, this team is better, a lot better suited for the playoffs.
What was the situation with that last, was that 2 years ago, Miles? Because I know you're a savant and you forget nothing. So can you
No, it was 2 years ago. I think it was either they could be the 4th seed or the 3 seed, but then they would have had to play, like, maybe it was New York in round 2, or maybe it was a first round matchup. They either had to play, no, they would have had to play like the 76ers or the Pacers in the first round, and they preferred to play the inexperienced Magic, and they ended up winning the series, but it was a tough one. But obviously vibes around this team are a lot better than 2 years ago. So should be exciting to see what happens over the final month of the season for those two teams.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Then right after that game at 3:30 on ABC, we have the two big markets clashing, with the Knicks traveling to LA to face the Lakers. They're set to go on a nice little Western Conference road trip for a little bit again, 3:30 on ABC. Two teams that have been up and down. I think we've all agreed on this podcast that the Knicks are the team that are more likely to contend in their conference. The Lakers have had a bit of a struggle beating good teams. Ben, what are you looking to see from the Lakers as they, have another test against a good team. Right now, they're in Denver and they're down by 9. It's kind of the same old story as normal. Right now, Jokic is a triple double at the end of the third quarter, and Jamal Murray has made 5 threes and 26 points. So they could fall again in another game against a good team. So Ben, what would you look to see in the game against New York on Sunday?
Well, for the Lakers, can somebody, it's the same thing, can somebody step up, it's like a role guy, can they actually place a good defense? They can place a good defense against the Knicks. Wow, Luca or LeBron or somebody could be going off at offense, then they could have a good chance against the Knicks. It's tough for New York. They're all the way out on the other side of the country on the road, and you just gotta hope the outcomes could hopefully be like that. I think for the Lakers, I'll be watching to see if we can somehow do that, and if it's a close game, I'm excited to see. Brunson and Luke are two clutch players. I'll be excited to see who's the best at coming up clutch or something there.
Yeah, I would agree with Ben. I hope that this is a close game throughout where neither team has more than like a 2 or 3 possession lead. That would be really fun to watch, just a closely contested game all the way through, because then it would give us a chance to see Luca and Brunson and LeBron all really like shine when it matters the most. Like after a long battle where neither team has had more than a 2 or 3 possession lead, like I just think it would be a lot of fun to see something like that between these two teams. Like, I mean, the Lakers are. I feel like the West is almost more wide open than it has been all year, because like the Thunder have so many injuries, and like the Spurs are hot right now, so people are like putting them ahead. So like if the Lakers get hot at the right time, like we've been talking about the last couple episodes here, like stack some quality wins against good teams, they should be able to roll into the postseason with some confidence too, because they have 3 of the best players in the conference.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just so crazy how things can change in the Western Conference. Like one of the better examples is the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are now on a 5-game winning streak, and we were talking about how they've had some really weird losses as of late, but they make up for it. They win 5 in a row, and now they're the 3rd seed in the Western Conference, which is huge. So you just need one little hot streak, and you need to kind of stay a bit consistent after that to be in a good position.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like if they get a first round win, like if they sneak out of the first round, the Lakers, all of a sudden you're on a hot streak and you're a really dangerous team because you have LeBron and Luca and AR. So I don't know. I've been going over in my head the last couple days, weeks, whatever. Like I almost feel like the East, I'm more confident about my winner in the East, even with Tatum coming back. Is like I feel good about the Cavs right now. I feel like good about them. Just at this point in the season, like these last 2 weeks, maybe, like I feel like the Cavs have really taken a step forward, whereas the other teams, Pistons and New York, have had more questions. Now you got Tatum coming back, so that's a big thing. But like the West, I feel like is almost less certain than I feel about the East right now. So I think the Lakers, like if they finish the season well, like beat New York this upcoming game, and maybe like I said, like Ben was saying, get to clutch time and like get a really good win, like they could stack some wins going into the postseason and make some noise, maybe.
They really got to take advantage of this. That's what you say. Yeah. I kind of hope both teams lose, to be honest. We know I don't like the I at this point I don't really care what happens to either team as long as really New York loses, so the Cavs can keep climbing in the standings. Because I would love for us to get like a 2, because we can still get the 2 seed. I would just absolutely love that. So I don't really care what happens. I think it's going to be a good game just because LeBron versus New York is always a pretty fun one in my opinion. So, well, let's see.
Yeah, and you get Brunson versus Luca, as you said, Ben, two really clutch players. But talking overall about the Lakers and maybe their Western Conference chances. I mean, is there? I mean, it's just been such a weird season. I mean, we knew coming in, we talked about it, how like, they just because of the lack of defense and their three best players kind of all needing the basketball, that it could kind of be a weird season for them. And it's a season where they are, most likely going to be 12 games over 500 after tonight. With having like a near even or a negative point differential on the season, but they're still in a position where they could get, solid positioning in the standings. I mean, is there a world where they could still win a first round series? And if so, what do you guys think is the best matchup for the Lakers in the first round?
I definitely
Well,
think it's
I
I love how
guess
all
for
of us are like,
today,
eh.
uh, like
I'll be honest. Probably the way it's seated right now, probably
maybe
Minnesota.
the maybe the Rockets or the Timberwolves, like if they play like the Spurs or the Thunder somehow. I mean, the Spurs are young now. Maybe the Lakers give them trouble, just more experience they played them. But I think like if we saw the Rockets lose today, to the Warriors about Steph Curry. That's a rough loss there. So maybe the Lakers with just some more experience with Luka, LeBron, them, getting into like a close game with the Rockets potentially. We know the Rockets have not been the best at clutch time. The Lakers could have a good chance to come up big at clutch time, like maybe something like that in a playoff matchup. If like other guys on the Lakers stepped up too, could maybe give them somewhat of a chance. Just thinking it through, like I don't know. I somehow think the Rockets could be their best matchup, but no matchup really totally be easy with them unless they just somehow get on a hot streak or get even a bit better with the Lakers.
Yeah, I think honestly, just the way kind of we're talking, that's kind of why it feels like the Western Conference, like the middle of it, is kind of so I get weird because like all these teams have different hot and cold stretches where like you don't know what's actually kind of real. Like I feel like in the Western Conference, the only teams that like you feel really, really good about, potentially doing something in the playoffs or are Oklahoma City because they've done it before and their best players are, healthy for the most part besides Jada. And I mean the Spurs have been so good that I feel a lot more confidently about them, than some of these other teams.
so.
It,
Here's
where
my
go ahead.
thing is like if the Lakers get a favorable matchup in the first round, I would say Minnesota is their best bet because I think that's the most wishy-washy or fraudulent team in the top six in the West between like Minnesota, Houston, and I'm not including the Lakers in that because we're talking about them.
Yeah.
Um, like if they can get past Minnesota and get to the second round, the only team I would say that I don't give them any chance at all against in a 7 game series is OKC. So when that door is open and you have LeBron and Luca and AR, like that is what I'm talking about. Is like I would say the door is open for them in a 7 game series, and they have those really good players, except against OKC because Denver has injuries. And Jokic hasn't looked as good, and the Spurs are inexperienced. And Houston just really isn't there for me this year without Van Vliet. So
Yeah, but like even like I mean that's the thing too. Like even Minnesota though, like you say they're like the most wishy washy, but like we saw what happened last year, and they're like the same teams that they have with the Wolves and Lake, like a 5 game series. So like you just don't even like know right now. So that's why it's gonna be so fun to see what happens over the rest of the season. And in a couple, maybe in a week or so, we'll go back to that tier list we made. Because that'll already be a month since we made the tier list, ranking every team and seeing, we'll see if anything has really changed from, then to now.
do you guys think the Lakers are better this year or last year?
Well, I would have to say a bit better this year because last year was just a crazy year and it weren't like totally the best. Like now, towards the end of last year, weren't great. Like they're trying to incorporate Luca into their plans, and their center rotation was just not very good at all. And so I think they have a bit more of a chance this year, but still not very confident in the Lakers, even with who they face in the first round. But if they face the Rocks or the Timberwolves, I mean, maybe who knows, it could be competitive. But yeah, that's my stance on them.
I go that they're slightly better, but I don't know how, like it barely. Because like with the center play, obviously it was like basically non-existent last year. DeAndre Ayton has had some awful games. He's saying things like he doesn't want to play like Clint Capella. Dude, if you sat down and played like Clint Capella, you might have an awesome career if you just played your role the way you're supposed to. Honestly, the thing that takes them better, like makes them better to me, is that Luke Kennard, he's been awesome for them since the trade. He's been really good, and that is about as big of an upgrade as you can ask for from Gabe Vincent so, off the bench. So for that, they're slightly better, but I don't think that their ceiling or floor, honestly, any different than it was last year.
I was just about to say, I'm like, I think they're barely better just because they don't have Gabe Vincent and they got Luke Kennard.
Honestly, yeah.
And honestly, yeah, if DeAndre Ayton played like Clint Capella and averaged like 10 points and 15 to like 20 rebounds a game, yeah, we'd be talking about this Lakers team completely different.
Nick, what do you think? You agree, or what do you think?
I agree with DeAndre Ayton's sentiment. I think they're probably slightly better than last year because they've had another year to gel Luka, LeBron, and AR, and they brought in Ayton. I think they're probably slightly better. And I made my case. I think that like if they make it to the second round, that the door is open for everybody except for the Thunder. So I would say their ceiling is slightly potentially higher because last year they were out in the first round, and this year I think there's a chance that they make it to the third round to the conference finals, as like based on what I said.
Yeah, and I mean last year, I mean it's crazy to forget. I mean how all of us favored the Lakers in that series over the Wolves. Like I think universally everyone thought the Lakers were going to win that series, and if they had won that series, there's a pretty good chance they actually could have made it to the conference finals because they would have ended up playing the Warriors, who ended up dealing with injuries themselves, and then you play the Thunder, and they probably get smacked there, but then they make it that far, so you could end up making
we'd
the same
be saying
case
that the Lakers were in the conference finals last year.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see what happens. It'll be an exciting finish to the season. We'll be back on Tuesday to break down more things about the NBA. We'll see if we can get any fun results from these games. Jason Tatum, we'll see how he looks in his first couple games back again tonight against the Dallas Mavericks, against Cooper Flagg, who's back in the lineup. So that should be a fun matchup there against Dallas. And then they go to Cleveland to begin the stretch where they play the Cavs, then the Spurs and the Thunder. So thrown right into the fire, Jason Tatum, to see how they can play. But that's it for us here. You guys have anything else before we get out of here?
While we were recording, it came out that LeBron passed Kareem for most field goals in NBA history. So just another record for LeBron James. Congratulations, James.
That's right. Congratulations to LeBron, as the Lakers are coming back here. They're only down by 5 with 7.5 to go. So maybe they will actually beat the Denver Nuggets, but we'll see here. But that's it for us here. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.